Hello, Kent Schoolers. Welcome to Session 9 on Administrative Advocacy. I just wanted to make some brief remarks, kind of bring some real-world practice experience into this discussion. So, as you can see in the soft chalk lesson, we've given several examples of administrative advocacy. And basically, we are talking about the ability of an individual group, team, or a larger number of people who successfully advocate, sometimes lobby, for change. Now, this could be the action could be the result of inappropriate applications of policies, inadequate policies, missing policies, policies that you think are detrimental to the clients we serve. Regardless of the type of issue that's present, what I'm going to talk to you about is how do you do that? How do you practice administrative advocacy and get results? So the setting in which you practice it can be very different. For example, you can practice administrative advocacy in your practicum. Now, I would caution you to be very careful and to do your research and homework before you advance proposals for change and have discussions with your supervisor. But you can do that. You can make recommendations because you are a student in a placement and you have the ability to see the work that's being done with different perspective, with new eyes, and can shed some light on the potential for change to occur and new policies to be developed. So that can be done. You can develop practice administrative advocacy in your job. As a member of a team, you can make recommendations for administrative change on that team. Your team can make recommendations for administrative policy or practice changes because your team believes the work can be improved and the clients we serve can be better served. So you can do that way. If you work in a nonprofit setting, you can practice administrative advocacy by going up the chain of command, going to the CEO or executive director, whoever's in charge of your agency. And if you're not able to make progress there, you can go over their heads and go to the board of directors. And I've seen that occur in my life sometimes. And in all cases, you best have your research and homework conducted in such a way so that what you want to prove is that the policy needs to be changed, the work needs to be done differently, and clients will be better served. You can practice administrative advocacy in the larger systems. And in this class, we're talking about systems of care, systems of practice at the local, state, and national levels. So on the local level, you could be talking with and working with and trying to achieve change at, say, a single city or a county level agency. At the state, you're advocating for statewide change, and at the national level, clearly you're advocating for change to occur in a national program. Now, let me give you an example that perhaps this would help. So, say you want to address policies that are in effect that affect the way in which youth age out of the foster care system. You don't like something. You don't like the kinds of way the practice is happening. You don't like the way, for example, the way youth exit foster care. That could be one of the things you want to address. So say you work for an agency that provides foster care services, you might go singularly to the, as I said, to the administrative structure inside the agency to try and make change. If that doesn't occur, go to the CEO or executive director, try to get change. If that doesn't go to the board of directors and try to get change for the way in which youth exit foster care in your agency. If this is a larger issue, a systemic issue, you can gather all the agencies together, go to the state capitol, and meet with the head of the agency that's responsible for foster care. Usually it's a commissioner of child welfare or child protective services. You can work that way as well. And then if you wanted to make change at the national level, you would have to go to the Administration for Children and Families, which is part of the Health and Human Services, which is the highest levels of the federal government, to try and get change to occur in how children exit foster care. I'm just giving you by way of examples the kinds and types of things you could do. Now, how do you do that? I said this several times before. You certainly want to do your research. You want to make absolutely sure that the policy that may be in effect needs to be changed. You should be making recommendations into what changes should be made. You should be talking about the rationale and the outcomes expected. So I'm going to say this, and I've said this again. When you have any of these kinds of meetings where you're practicing administrative advocacy, have a magic one-pager so that the people that you are meeting with clearly understand the problem, the current situation, the proposed change, the rationale for making the change, and the expected outcomes to be achieved. I'm just telling you this based on years and years and years of experience and having been through many meetings where I was lobbied to make change. The type of change that can cause results to occur is change is clearly articulated and created in such a way that it's left with the decision maker so that they can then act on it. I'm going to tell you a quick story that I don't care for the outcome of this. There was a high-level decision maker in a government structure, and some colleagues of mine had gotten together and were very concerned about the way in which a program was being operated. So this individual volunteered to go see this high-level official and to propose changes. So we worked together very carefully on the one-pager exactly to make sure that it said what the issues were, what proposed changes were to be made, why the changes were to be made, and how this change would improve outcomes. The public official said, "Don't give me that paper. I don't want any paper." So they absolutely refused to be given the information, the factual information on which to make change. That said to me that this particular individual and their programs were not very transparent and were not very interested in creating change. And I can tell you this short story, that was certainly the case. And fortunately, the individual resigned their position and moved on elsewhere, and we don't have to deal with that individual anymore. But that was a rarity and is certainly something to be aware of. How do you deal with a situation like that? You should know, as you grow and change as a social worker, how to read the room, how to assess the language of the parties that you are meeting with, how to assess the body language of the folks you're dealing with to determine whether or not they're going to accept the proposal that you're making. So I'm just trying to say to you, this is a very, very important area of policy advocacy. You certainly can do this tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. You want to do a little homework first before you make change. But you can do it, like I said, within the context of your present practicum, employment, or any collaboration or coalition that you're a part of. These are certainly processes that you can put in place. It is very, very important to be clear about the outcomes you want to achieve and be clear that you're talking to the right person who can help make those outcomes occur. So I hope you enjoy this lesson. There's a lot of material here. It's not that detailed. As a matter of fact, it's designed to be brief so that you can enjoy spring break. And please, please feel free to email me about any questions you have about any of the assignments, particularly making sure that when you are working on section 2 of your paper, it directly matches the problem in section 1 and that you propose a solution that's directly related to it. So I'm just saying policy solutions directly related to kids in foster care who are exiting. You've got to have a policy solution that directly matches the number of individuals who are affected at the level that you're working with, whether it be local, state, or national. I hope that's helpful. I hope you enjoy some time off, and please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.